So, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. If you have any problem with the sound, mic, just let me know, please. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I'm back. And seems all is fine. Yeah. Yeah. I feel ready with the stuff. So let me do some latest tunings on my side. Okay. So we can do it as much as interactive as possible, guys. So just let me know if you are aware of the changes in the latest reinvent, and if any of them is interesting for you, please don't hesitate to comment on the chat window on YouTube, and we can discuss also interactively. I cannot admit that I know all the changes in details, but the ones that got my interest, and also the ones that are undermentioned. Not all of the changes, all of the new announcements are done on the main keynotes. There are also closed sessions and some sessions which are not broadcasted during reInvent, and only the people who attended to reInvent are able to uh, uh, like informed about those announcements, which are also in the closed sessions. I will also mention a couple of them also today. Of course, they are public, which are published after the reInvent, but I don't think you have noticed them in mainstream keynotes or with the ones or if you attended virtually. So my name is Dorian. You can call me Daria. You can call me Dorian. Both is fine. So I'm one of the APN ambassador. What's APN ambassador? I will also mention partly. And what I can inform before beginning is, I'm not sure if any of you guys attended to the reInvent before. It's almost it's the 10th anniversary of reInvent, and it was also the 15th anniversary of the cloud of AWS cloud, and it has happened in four venues in parallel. It's a huge event. It's almost 28,000 attendees in four venues and 50 tracks, 1,200 sessions. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's hard to follow up all the sessions. The sessions uh, are mostly categorized as based on your interest. Some of them are Microsoft related, some of them are database, some of them are big data, some of them are in general. So it's almost based on your interest. You can choose the tracks whichever is interesting for you. So it's a within these 1,200 sessions, it's always challenging to find the right sessions. Of course, everyone attends to reInvent in person with different type of purpose. My purpose was not to attend to the sessions and listen to the sessions because I know I can do it anytime online later. My initial motivation is more like meet with people whom I know before, with whom I already in touch with in a project, or as a customer, or as like a professional whom I know online. So meet with those guys. It's a good opportunity to meet with different people from like all over the world, because everyone globally or wherever all over the world, usually if they have the opportunity to meet, it's an opportunity to meet with the people in person that you already know. And it has been like, when I checked my number of steps in 6 days, it's a huge, right? I'm not someone who usually walks a lot, but I have done almost like more than 20K steps each day. It has happened in several venues in Las Vegas. It's a huge event. It's very easy to get lost within those venues and in the sessions very easily. So you have to get prepared. You have to be organized before attending. And so, as a summary, I'm ambassador since this year. It's a new one, so I don't know if you are aware of ambassador program, But if you are part of a AWS partner, consulting partner, not technology partner, you may be entitled to be also an ambassador. Please let me know. I can try to help you, guide you if you are interested in that track. It needs some type of commitments and also contributions. Let me know, okay, separately. Just get in touch with me if you are interested. I'll be happy to guide you. So, and what are the benefits as ambassadors? It's always some type of events that we meet with AWS leadership. And also participation, some type of ambassador-related global summit, some VIP pass, because it's a huge event, and if you don't have some certain VIP pass, you may be lost easily, and you may wait so long time in the queue sometimes. So there are always some type of benefits of being an ambassador. And also, arraignment as a summary, it's a huge one, and so many attendees. And the only sessions that I attended was keynotes, which happened as a first session in the morning, each morning. The first day it was Global Partner Summit, which is mostly focusing on partners. And after the second day, it was the Adam Slipsky's session, AWS CEO. Wednesday it was Swami and Peter, and the last day Werner Wallace. And mostly, as you can imagine, the most interesting one was Werner's. Usually, each year, it's Werner's session is usually the most interesting one, fancy one. Everybody knows that as a summary. So usually everyone tries to join this session. And let me know if you have any questions till now. So what does it mean for the how if to give you some idea of how what type of activities has been done, or what type of session awareness was? Let me try to elaborate a bit more. It's more like a show rather than a conference. It has been several activities, and also it looks like not like a commercial conference or commercialized event. It's more like you see around like people playing retro games, DJ all the time playing music. It's not like a commercial conference. So I will also send a link to you about Werner Vogel's entrance to his talk, to the keynote. I will not play it now. You can check it if you are interested. So it's online. But before his keynote, there has been a video which he played like an actor, and as you can imagine, it's a huge effort has been given to organize this event, including like a short movie, and several sessions regarding the heroes and everything. So I will not go into details with this video. Again, I will send you later. But I would like to focus on some changes which has been announced. I will not go into the mainstream ones. You already know them. But still, if you're interested, let me know on the comments. What I noticed is there has been an emphasis on modernization during the arraignment. This is only one example, but there are a lot of different type of modernization sessions. Not all of them was during keynotes. Again, there are closed sessions which you can sometimes join only with invite, or also in parallel sessions which are smaller, with focusing the smaller community. So this is the most popular. It was the most popular emphasis on modernization. So it's more mainframe modernization. Mainframes still are being used in the workloads of companies, right? So, and when you notice, if you notice, this is not just this is not a service. This is not a resource of AWS. This is not like an RDS. This is not like a EC2. It is, let's say, it's like more like a partner solution, by the way. So what is being done is AWS, together with partners who are competent with, I assume, the COBOL code, build some type of practices how to replatform and refactor this code to run on AWS. Of course, it's a consultancy solution. It's not like a tool. It's not like an automated manner. So it's more like a consultancy and applying some best practices. So apart from mainframes, a huge emphasis also was on .NET modernization, Microsoft modernization. I remember some numbers. For instance, Windows servers, right? Windows servers still majority of Windows servers worldwide, globally, are on premises. So this is an opportunity also to modernize those, right? Modernize Windows to Windows, or modernize maybe Windows to Linux based on the .NET workload on the top of them. So there is also such modernization opportunity. Also, there were sessions related Microsoft SQL modernization as well. Not only Microsoft SQL, but also PL/SQL, PL/SQL related modernization aspects as well. So this was the most popular modernization emphasis, but there were a lot more, as I tried to describe. So if we continue, so let me remind what type of databases AWS supports. So this is not something new. So this is probably you already know. Just to refresh our maybe memory, or refresh our knowledge, let's say. And we can see on the relational side, we have RDS and Aurora as two main managed database services of AWS on relational databases. Most of those are MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible databases, and also SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server as well on RDS. And also we can see another category under non-relational databases, key value as DynamoDB, DocumentDB, again Mongo compatible, Mongo API compatible DocumentDB. Caching is practically, it's mostly Redis, it's Elasticache, and GraphDB, it's Neptune, time series, time stream, ledger database QLDB, white column database Keyspaces. Keyspaces is the Cassandra, and practically it's managed Cassandra. Is, as you know, Cassandra is column-based database, right? So, and also memory database. So the relation that is defined between those are, there are also others, not only those, of course, but as you know, there are databases which we have already defined. There are machine learning services of AWS, data lakes, analytics. So those always have kind of depend or querying each other. So it's based on your architecture, based on your design. We have a wide scope, wide spectrum of databases on AWS as a summary. This is not something new. This is not something which was announced, but just to refresh our memories. Plus, there are new serverless analytics services which were announced as well. Those Redshift, EMR, MSK, Kinesis, they were already there, as you know. So what I can say is, let's get an example, EMR, MapReduce. From my experience with MapReduce projects that I have been into, that doesn't mean that all of those projects have the same pattern, but those are mostly like some batch calculations, mapping and reducing the two to come together. And what I remember is most of those, the ones that I attended, was running those in a scheduled manner, which means that you don't need the whole cluster 724. But what we were doing is we were shutting down the cluster, sometimes reprovisioning again, in order to get rid of this cost, or you can upscale or downscale your cluster. But this time, with the serverless approach, you don't have to do those, right? You can still run as long as whenever you need. So as a summary. But something interesting, if anyone noticed, how does it work in the background? How do they work? Do they use Lambda, you think? Is there any comment? I will come back to this after again, but if you have any idea, please let me know, because I found something interesting after this announcement. If anyone figure out, just let me know. So next is Outposts. Outposts is not something new. It was already there, but I don't know if you are aware. They were more with announced with a rack, like whole rack, which is like 42 units. But this time during this reInvent, 1U and 2U units has been announced. And when I saw them running, like I remember I was working with, when I was working as a system admin long time before, I remember to deal with such servers. And I noticed there are two use cases. One is latency, and the second is data residency. The thing is, latency is, I have not encountered in any of my AWS project, that the latency was a problem. Latency was always an issue, but nobody, I haven't met with any requirement, any business requirement, which required the latency that AWS was not capable. So latency, I think more data residency is a better concern, let's say, for AWS Outposts, because data residency for some particular countries, you're not entitled to run your workloads outside of territory. So this is one of the main use cases, I think, at least for my side. But maybe you have a project where you need some latency, you need some tight latency requirements. So as a summary, there is two use cases. But what I noticed is, still you cannot find outposts everywhere. It is still so limited in some countries. Even you ask AWS to provide you outpost, they say simply no, because it's still in step-by-step launching to countries all over the world. So you may need to still wait some time for your customer who does where there is not an AWS region, like maybe Turkey or Malta. So we are having demand, for instance, for those two countries, but you may for Malta, yes, but not for Turkey, I think, still. So if you have any experience with this, please let me know. If I go back, so what I have noticed is, when you go to pricing of those, even I don't know how they are implemented at the background, but I can see that, of course, they are not Lambda, first of all. What I noticed is the pricing is hourly pricing. It is far different than what Lambda is applying, right? On Lambda, the pricing is not based on hours. So, which means that those services, considering those are hourly prices. So MSK, as you know, it is Kafka. EMR, it is MapReduce. So probably those are like provisioned and deprovisioned up to the request. They call it serverless. That's okay. That's a step forward. Still, there's a progress compared to before, because as I mentioned before, we have to provision all the cluster and keep it sometimes 724, even we don't need 724. That's okay. But at the background, I can see that it's not like Lambda serverless, by the way. They call it serverless, that's fine, but not Lambda, just for you to know. And plus, those are the icons, let's say, of AWS services. So many icons, right? And I remember a sentence of Werner during this slide, which is worth to mention, I think. He told the audience that this is not our fault. This is your not fault, he told, but this is what you have demanded. This is what he has told during his speech. As you know, AWS is customer-focused cloud provider. So those services, most of them, you may not be aware, but those were demanded by the customers and developed and deployed by AWS engineers. So the next one, an interesting also slide, which tells that I think IAM is the most frequently used service of AWS. because it runs on every AWS service, right? In order for authentication and authorization purposes. So that's why it's the most used service of AWS, and it's an incredible number, 500 million API calls per second. Incredible number, right? 500 million. So all of your requests to the AWS API, as you know, everything what's happening on the dashboard, what's happening with Terraform, what's happening with CLI, all goes to API, right? So, and this may be a real person who is doing the call to the API, or it can be like a programmatic access also, right? Like Terraform. So as a summary, it's a huge number, which is the which that IAM is getting as load. Plus, some numbers also which may be interesting for you, which are Lambda, which is having over 150 million invocations, API Gateway over 200, and Elastic Cache is over 275 million. Those are also growing numbers, but again, from what I have experienced, is Lambda is still not in the mainstream of the stacks of the AWS customers. Still, it's not the number one. Of course, I know companies and stacks and teams who are developing their stack on the top of serverless Lambda end to end. But what I can say is, when I met with AWS customers, speak with them, understand their stack, understand, try to analyze what they are trying to achieve. Still, Lambda is not in the mainstream, what I can say, but it's not widely used. So it on all requirements, let's say, still growing, but not like the velocity as you may imagine, as you maybe noticed. So this is what I can maybe summarize from this slide. And those are also interesting. Six practices for developing an API from AWS. So API first, being API first is already there, as you know, and backward compatibility is also number 2. So you can also check this later, but the last one is also is, I think, one of the interesting one, which is so whatever you develop as an API, you publish as an API, you don't have to leak the implementation details, but because implementation details, it's up to you. So it is avoiding to leak the implementation details. It's also, I think, a good practice to follow. Let's move forward. Whoever knows AWS well-architected framework, it previously had 5 pillars. Those 5 pillars was like security, performance, reliability, cost, and operational excellence. A new pillar has been introduced called sustainability. I didn't have time still to get into that. I'm not an well-architected, let's say, certified, honestly speaking, but I know if you aware of and get into the details, please let me know. So it's a new pillar. So we have now 6 pillars rather than 5 on well-architected framework. The next is low-code approach. So it's called Amplify Studio. You can also check some demos on YouTube if you are interested. This is a let's say this is a downloadable studio on your desktop, on your laptop. You download it and you design the pages, the front end, and also you design the authentication. You design also the resources that are being used, that should be called using this Amplify Studio. So there are so many low-code alternatives, but this is also a new alternative from AWS. Promising. I'm also thinking about to check it next week. Hopefully, it's a promising one. Yes. Next one is new SDKs, Swift, Kotlin, Rust. I know Kotlin and Rust was already there as alpha, so it was not something new. I wasn't aware of Swift, but at least some of them were in alpha, but they became, let's say, stable. they announced as stable. The next is .NET Modernization. So there has been at least six chalk talks. They call it chalk talk. There are different category of sessions. The one category is chalk talk, which means that there is a whiteboard, a quite big whiteboard, and it is not like a presentation. The AWS engineers, I'm not sure it is visible, but there are 4 AWS engineers in that session, which is on the left-hand side. So these 4 AWS solution architects and 4 AWS engineers asks the audience, what is your challenge? What is your challenge on .NET modernization? So based on the challenge, they on the whiteboard they try to find a solution to modernize it. So this is more like not like a presentation, more like a finding solutions on the whiteboard. And I joined almost 4 or 5 sessions. These are more focused sessions, as you can imagine. The number of audience is less, it's more concentrated, and it's more focused sessions. Some of those solutions of .NET modernization were based off like just containerized .NET. Some of them splitting the monoliths, and some of them was related like .NET to .NET Core competency. So there are different aspects of modernization of .NET. The one that I joined was mostly related with 2 tools, which has been recently announced by AWS. One is microservice extractor for .NET. The other is porting assistant. So those tools are we were as team also. I was also aware of those tools. Why? Because our team also in my company also we are working on those tools to adapt to customer projects and provide feedback to AWS. So those tools were already we were aware of, but they were just announced. They only announced during the RAIN event, let's say. Plus, the one that we get into more is microservice extractor for .NET. So we are also within these 3 partners, launch partners. So this is a promising one, honestly. If you have a .NET stack, I would really recommend you to try it out. So as you can see, it finds out the methods and the dependencies within the calls in your code, all the controllers and the dependencies, and it splits a part of your code from monolith to an external API and do it automatically, but maybe not perfectly, but doing it a way that of course there are always maybe some exceptions, but even if you are successful in 80%, that's a big step forward, right? So we also internally checked this tool, and we can see that for some it still needs several aspects maybe to develop, but it works great. I cannot say it's like splitting monolith. That's why the name is not splitting monolith, because database is still there. But let's say it's more like converting your monolith into an API-based model, which is really interesting. And it works, honestly, yeah. And the next is what I would like to mention is Expo Hunt. There were several games in the Expo where people running around to find some like quests and fulfill some quests, finalize some quests, and trying to. This is one example on the right hand side. If you like do all of this 10, you get something, okay, some prize, something surprise. I don't know. There were like attendees who were there just for Expo Hunt. I call them Expo Hunters. I'm not a real Expo Hunter, but there are real Expo Hunters there. I can admit that, yeah. So considering this, for instance, this Expo scavenger hunt, you need to attend to some sessions, attend to some keynote, and write some on Doodleball type of stuff, and you get the prize. So that's it. Just to mention it because it was something funny for me. So the next is I don't have so much topics left, but there was something also interesting, which is called serverless espresso. Okay, serverless espresso, as you can understand. So this was a booth inside the Expo, and inside this booth there were cafe machines, and those cafe machines were linked to the AWS Lambda, and with some IoT, with some device, let's say. And whenever you gave your order using the, I don't know if it's visible, but there's a QR code here, and you don't give any order by verbally to someone there. You just, with your camera, you just go to the link in that QR and give your order. Those people there is just serving the coffee, nothing else. They don't take orders. They just serve the coffee to the table. That's all. Just physical moving the coffee from coffee machine to the table. That's all. All the rest is automated. As you can see on the right hand side, these are the peaks. I think this was the 4th day. That's why you see the 1st day, 2nd day, 3rd day, 5th day. This is the number of coffees that were ordered. I think those are the type of coffee, because there were like espresso, black coffee, Americano, some type of maybe flat white, so the different type of coffees here. So those were also dashboard of what has been ordered during the day and in the previous days as well. So it's a nice one. I'm not sure if this is also linked with like Lambda error codes, but this is more like high level of dashboards. Yeah. So again, I'm finishing. Before finishing, I would like to mention which sessions I mostly attended. As I told, I attended 2 keynotes and Dotnet Modernization chalk talks. I think I attended almost 5 or 6 chalk talks, including microservice extractor tool, and also I have been into a closed session also about workloads partner executive partner briefing launcher on this Lancheon. Interesting wording, right? So this was also related with the modernization aspects, the initial topic that I mentioned regarding modernization emphasis. And what I can say is also that I met with several AWS customers who are also struggling to find the right solution to them. I was responsible also in APN network for some predefined time. I responded to the incoming questions from AWS customers regarding their architecture and regarding the solution, how they can solve their problem on AWS. I tried to help several people, several AWS customers while I was, let's say, responsible on APN boot. And I think that's all. And the last closing event of the Remote was Replay. It's called Replay. It was my 2nd time to attend the Remote. The first was in 2014, almost 7 years before. There was nothing like Replay at that time. But that was a nice closing event, where you met with people, and also if you are like retro games, you can play some retro games. It's a lot retro game fleet there, and that's usually most of the part that I discussed. If you have any questions, let me know regarding any type of announcements on Rainment. And there are some also blogs that I really like, which explain in details about Rainment announcements. Please get in touch with me if you are interested with those blogs. And that's all from my side. Thank you for attending. And if there is not any comments, have a great rest of your night, evening, and hopefully see you next year. I'm telling the same joke, right? See you next year. I think this is the last session on DevOps Underground for this year. So next year we'll be having some changes. So we'll let you know. So have a great rest of your evening, guys. Bye.